Hi, everybody, and welcome to Made in Midlothian Sunday Support Sessions. Tonight, we're going to be interviewing the fabulous Susan Cohen. I've just noticed you can see my mess. You won't be able to see that when Susan comes on. She'll be coming on in just 1 minute. So if you're watching for the first time, my name's Renee Bell. I run Yellow Door Studio, a small home pottery studio, and I'm also founder and director of Made in Midlothian. So we are a volunteer arts organisation, a community interest company, and we run all sorts of things to try and support artists, and particularly now we do that more than ever. All of our programs currently are completely free, so don't worry, you're just on here, you can see us, you can try and learn, you can talk to us, send us a message if there's anything you're struggling with. And if you like what you see, please, we've got a fundraiser account that I've attached to this, which you can donate to. And every little bit helps. It helps so much just to have different people donating. So please don't worry about the amount. And if not, don't worry. We know everybody's at a really tough financial time at the moment. So if not, please just like, comment, and share. And we'll, that is an amazing way to show your support, to like, comment, and share. So tonight we have Susan Cohen, and we've got people coming on already. So she's just about to come on. She is Susan Cohen. She's a writer and a publisher and director of the Wee Book Company, which is a lovely little Scottish book company. And you might have seen some of her stuff around. I've shared a little bit of it. So I'm going to pop her on now. And I should say we've also got Mary here and Andrew. Hello. So let's see. Susan. Hello. Susan. It's lovely to see you. It's been a long 3 months since I've seen you, at least.
I love the way that you pushed your box out of shot. I thought that was really funny. No one noticed.
It's because
no one noticed.
No one saw a thing. Yeah, it's because in this scene I couldn't see the box, and then of course it's just me. I'm like, ah. You should see the behind the studios pictures are really worrying. There's just mess on both sides of me here.
It's life. It's lockdown life. It's crazy. Crazy.
It is. So speaking of life, how are you doing, Susan? Lovely to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to see you. Yeah, we were just gossiping before we went live, weren't we, about lockdown life and what we've had to change and turn on a sixpence. And we've had to learn all those new skills. Now, who knew, Renee, that you and I would meet outside Weatherspoons instead of our like little bedroom Weatherspoons, we'd suddenly be sitting in opposite ends of the county, Zooming of a Sunday night. Who knew?
I know. Well, I keep joking to all my friends and and tonight I'm pretending to be this. I'm pretending to be some sort of journalist. Like, you just every single day you have to learn a new skill.
You were on it like a carb on it. Well done, girl.
It looks like that. It's not true.
Good hair too. My husband did a good job of the hair.
Yeah, he's chopped a lot off. It's I don't know, it's got its mind of its own sometimes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's all right. I only notice it once a week when I do this. Otherwise, I never see it. Otherwise, it's usually got some sort of clay mat back here.
Who is this person? Who is this person?
So we should start with Susan. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I established the Wee Book Company back in August of 2018. And the reason for it was that a few years before, my friend Ewan Irvin, if he's watching, hi Ewan, and I did a very small book where we had a cup of coffee. We thought, wouldn't this book be brilliant? We pitched it to a publisher on the next day, and we wrote it that weekend. And within about 3 weeks, it was on the shelves. It was that quick.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it was a really good experience. It was with a very small publishing company. We learned everything. So I wasn't planning to start a publishing company at that time. But looking back, that's when I started cutting my teeth and really getting the bug. So from a plain blank screen to a published book within 3 weeks. That's extreme, but I found that it was possible. Because it was a small publisher, we were able to do all the have an input with regard to the editing, the layout, all sorts of things. And so the actual process of putting the actual printed product together also was shown to us at that time. That was brilliant. What led me to think that I could have my own publishing company was that the feedback started coming in from the book. And the book ended up in the most unusual of places, one of which was a cancer ward in an Edinburgh hospital, where a nurse would sit and would read the book to somebody who was having chemotherapy. And the book is about mindfulness and about how to just settle your brain when it's going mental. It's not about positive thinking and get up off your arse and all that stuff. It doesn't talk down to you, and it kind of makes you laugh at the same time. It was written in broad Scots. It kind of hit a note. And I thought, well, maybe I'm onto something there. And so I was, as it turned out, and started the wee book company and have done those kind of books ever since.
Oh, they're absolutely brilliant. You gave me one once. I love it.
Thank you.
Back when we were doing Bookfest.
Back when we
those
were
are the days.
those days in the pub. I know. Do you remember those days?
Vaguely. I'm pretty sure it was about 1 million years ago.
2 million years ago. I know.
2020 is the year of cancelled events. We should say hi. We've got Mary Turner Thompson, who is one of the lovely Bookfest ladies, international bestseller Mary Turner Thompson.
International best-selling.
I know. We can't say that enough. We need to get Maiden Midlothian doing more Bookfest and story stuff back on the map. I was looking at her comedy going, oh, we need comedy nights, don't we?
We do. She's hilarious.
So do.
She
would be brilliant. Oh, she's so funny.
So funny.
I mean, we should see. I mean, there's some, other people here too. I guess we should, say hello to the riffraff of. We've got my sister and my husband. My sister's just watching me because it was my nephew's birthday this afternoon, so we had a small family barbecue. And I may have had a couple of drinks at it, so she's just watching to make sure that I mess it up at some point soon.
Falling off your chair, and
Yeah, she's just hoping for that. But Fiona Ma's here. Hi, Fiona. It's lovely to see you. She's a brilliant printer. Rachel Archibald, who's seen around. Harry's saying, well, hello. Hi, Ewan. And Donna's saying comedy nights would be awesome. Comedy nights would be so good. And more storytelling. My husband's objecting to the riffraff. And yes, I am sunburnt. I am. It's not just the rosy cheeks.
You're peachy. You're beautiful.
You would think I would know by now, but I don't.
We have
I even tried. I was like, I need to sit in the shade, guys. I've got to go live. I'm going to be red. So anyway, we should get back to what we're here to do. And what we're here to do is talk about networking, because you are fabulous and always doing all the fabulous stuff. So I thought you were the perfect person to get on here for that. I was thinking I should do something called networking. I know who I'm going to get. So, I mean, we should we've talked about where you started, and so you started with a business partner, and was that somebody you knew, or was that somebody you made contact with, or?
Well, you know what? I'm the sole director of the company, and so it's just me. My other half, Andrew, is an amazing support and helps me with sales, but essentially it's my baby, if you like. I tell you what, though, I have thought about, amazingly, Renee, I have thought about this a wee bit.
The shock and horror.
I'm not a professional networker, and there's a person in my life who I know is a networker of extraordinary professionalism. Lindsay McGregor Ingalls, I have to say, Network of Women, is the most extraordinary networking professional I think I've seen.
And she's fabulous. and now actually have this as their cover page right now. She's so fabulous. I'm hoping she's going to pop on and say hello.
She's an
But when I was
incredible.
doing these interviews, I thought I wanted to find people that I've already connected
Yeah,
with through Maiden Midlothian, and
yeah.
you know, and so I did consider Lindsay. I did, and then I thought, but I would love to get one of my Bookfest ladies on, and
Well, we are Bookfest, and I think the networking thing's really important. Sometimes to be talked about in the context of starting up a business, and if we're talking to your lovely Maiden Midlothian creative people, I think it's really important to talk about the role of networking in the operation and the day-to-day operation of your business. I think that's a really good idea. And certainly when I started, I was really fortunate in that. I mean, I've got a really supportive partner in Andrew, and and if you're talking networking, then really, what I would describe it as is just great trusted friends. I was really lucky because for a start, I had
yeah,
I'm really lucky person in that I've got really good friends in my life, and I can pick the phone up to them, and they can pick up the phone up to me, and if we don't speak for a year, it doesn't matter. And one particular friend happened to be in the graphic design and printing industry, and I knew that if I just talked about my initial thoughts to him, he would have an input that was absolutely dead straight, expert, and on the money, and that turned out to be absolutely right. And he's one of those people, Andrew Boyle, if you're watching, hello. And I will never forget it, and I still tear up thinking about it. He's a person of few words, but the words that he speaks are absolutely made of gold. And so the few pieces of advice he gave me right at the beginning, I followed those to the letter. And those turned out to be.
what were they? Tell us.
Well, the first thing is if you're starting, it's industry specific. I was absolutely adamant that he listened to what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was to sell books to people who don't normally buy books.
Yep.
We have a fairly high incidence of mental health problems here in Scotland, and a fairly low uptake of mental health support services. And so what I
Yep.
wanted to do was to sell books which touched on aspects of self-help as far as mental health was concerned, write them in our own tongue and in language that was funny and warm and quirky and accessible, and sell them in places where books weren't normally being sold. Now that was a really tall order. Now, after pondering it for a while, Andrew came up with a formula of a dimension of a gift book, which could be sold at a price point that was affordable onto shelves that actually were not housing books, but were housing other forms of giftware. So my competition actually is not another book. My competition is actually items of giftware, a candle or a purse or something like that. Or, oh, look, here's a little book. We do go into Waterstones and WH Smiths and all these kind of places, but actually we're sold in more volume in small independent retail outlets throughout Scotland, and also at tourist
Yep.
attractions. And so it's very industry specific. So the first thing I think with regard to networking is that if you're fortunate enough to have someone who has that insight into your long-term goal, not your short-term, it has to be where is it you see yourself? Where is it you see your
Having
product?
that vision.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the
It
first
must
thing.
have
And
taken
that's
a
got
lot
to
of
be innate.
contacts. I think particularly you pointed on something there where you had to go in and sell them something that they're not normally selling. And that must have, to actually make it breaking out of the box a little and going, actually, I'm not going to compete with other books. Must have taken a bit. It must have taken a bit of contacts to go in. Did you go into all the stores directly, or did you know people from?
No. I did some research before I started up, and I found out the place that I could exhibit where I could meet the most buyers in one hit. And I don't mind telling you that it would probably be a fit for quite a lot of your audience to say that the Scottish specialty gift fair which is
Yep.
held twice a year in the SECC in Glasgow, doesn't normally exhibit publishers. So I thought, right, there's no one else there really, so I'll go.
Absolutely perfect place to network.
It really was. And in terms of, so the networking is really interesting for me. Networking is okay, I think, in a business sense when it's a business occasion. So that's the ultimate networking. So, and you get a double whammy networking. You get to network with your fellow exhibitors, which is as valuable, actually, it turned out, as we're networking with the clients that are coming thick and fast towards you. And then the other thing is that if you're exhibiting for the first time, what you want to be doing is trying to compete, because what really made us fly to begin with was we won an award for one of the best products in the show in the category that we were exhibiting in. So if you are going to be going to the Scottish Trade Fair, and I would urge anyone to go, because what we didn't want to do was sell retail. Our business is business to business generally.
Yeah.
It's not business to consumer. So we are looking to sell wholesale to businesses. And if any of your creative people are out there and that's what their aim is, you don't go anywhere. Go to the Scottish Gift Fair. The busiest one generally, COVID-19 might scupper this year, but generally the January fair is the busiest, because believe it or not, people are buying for the Christmas.
Yeah, I've found that they buy so much further in advance than you expect. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
incredible.
And you touched on something there that I think is really important to a lot of our crafters, actually, is that business to business is more important than you think, even as a business that is business to business, like as a business that is business to craft to customer. Selling in craft fairs, a lot of the best contacts you actually make are with the other crafters in the market. Absolutely, and I could completely see that being the same on a larger scale.
I think that business to business.
Samantha's saying she's here, by the way, and Donna's saying we're the centerpiece of her party, the party that I had to leave.
Oh,
but hi, Samantha. It's lovely to see you. We've got half the Bookfest crew here.
Yay! We're all missing the pub. That's what it is. We're missing the pub.
So missing the pub. In fact, I don't have a cocktail. I wonder if I said that louder, whether my husband would get off the couch. Oh, he's let out a big, big sigh. It's not looking good. I should say, and I should have said this earlier, that if you are watching this anywhere else, please come to the Made in Midlothian page to comment. And please ask us any questions. We've got Susan here. She doesn't know you were going to ask questions necessarily, but we've got her, so let's do it. Got anything you ever wanted to know about Susan, now's your chance.
Anything.
But if there's actually anything we can do that might help, that would be great, because one of my things I was going to ask is, how have you found doing that sort of networking and all of that through lockdown?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. What can I say? So that's a really good question. That really is a good question.
I think
I don't
that on my list. It wasn't on my list.
Well, you know what? Networking has an association with it that it's somehow ruthless and exploitative, and you come and buy my wares, that kind of thing. It's not what that is. And lockdown, I decided right at the beginning. I looked at myself in the mirror one night and I thought, you know what? I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm completely impractical. What can I do to help? And so we got together, me and two other authors, Lee and Mary, international best-selling Mary. And we started up a network for no other reason than to support people through what was obviously a trauma, by giving them some creative exercises to do with an end goal in sight. So, trying to write a framework of a book within 6 weeks and trying to waltz everybody through that. there was no agenda at all, at all.
Yeah.
And similarly with my Facebook page, I decided there was no way that I was ever going to sell anything on my Facebook page. What I wanted to do was address the crisis that was happening now. And so I would just dress up funny stuff and say, do you know what? It's not forever, it's just for now, you know? And actually,
Yes.
weirdly, that was a big life lesson, because you realise that that touches a nerve with people. People are so smart these days. We're all online. We're all connected. They can sniff out something that's not genuine.
Yeah, they can see those hidden agendas.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so if you're doing something with heart and with love, which genuinely we were, that was just a lovely thing. And that
Oh,
in
I was part of that, and we should say this is the Book Whisperers group. The Book Whisperers group is starting again, and you're still there, and you're still offering an amazing thing. And so, if you are looking for something, if you're looking to get started writing, go join the Book Whisperers group. It is fabulous, and I was there at the start, and I wish I had have been able to commit more time to it, but sadly, I was doing way too many.
yeah, there's a real
But I absolutely loved your Book Whisperers. And it's one of the reasons why I thought to get you on here is that you're one of the people that didn't just go, well, that's it. The pandemic's hit and there's nothing we can do. You went, right, well, what can we do? And you changed your book company to incorporate that. And I think it's not dissimilar actually to what we did with Maid of Midlothian, and we did feel that, well, like we're not. I did the same thing where I was like, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. What can I give? I could run prescriptions, but that's not. I have more than that I could do. And I think it's very similar. There's lots of people. Thank you, Mary's putting on the link for the Book Whisperers. Brilliant. There is a wonderful book out for that. In fact, I should have had it ready. It's sitting somewhere just over there that I should have had ready to show. And I've got one of your books. So I missed a trick on having my props.
not at all. Not at all.
Triona is here. Hello, Trina. I always say Triona in my head. It's Trina, isn't it?
Trina, yeah. Oh, she's
The
genius.
Australian.
And Trina's
Yeah.
a genius author, a genius author. And I think that we're really lucky with the word network, with the friendship group that we have. We're just really fortunate. I can see you've been handed a prop. Look at you.
I've got my stir crazy. I've been too stir crazy to actually read it all yet, but I'm very excited about it. I've also got my wee book company somewhere, but I think Andrew might take another minute to dig that one out.
Well, I think the whole that the fact that people, I think it's true that in terms of what's been happening in terms of the crisis is a good reminder that you have to be genuine and do things with heart, with no agenda. And I think if you extend that into your business in every circumstance, I have had the worst. I can tell you the best networking experiences I've had.
Fabulous! This is better than my questions.
Well, they have been. I mean, they have been where a group of people are involved in a common endeavour, and that can be in exhibiting at a trade fair, selling an event. It can be amazingly, one of the very best experiences I had was that I signed up for an event that I wasn't really qualified to do because it was just too high level for me. But actually, I ended up rubbing shoulders with people who have stuck with me through the pandemic. They're extremely well qualified to guide my business through which, very choppy waters. I'll tell you something else. Lindsay, that we spoke about earlier, who runs the network of women, she has just set up an endeavour called Waking Up the Dragon. That is a common endeavour which is fascinating. She is combining that heart-centred, loving, let's support each other, networking ethos with a little bit of science that she's looked into with regard to working the Facebook algorithms.
Genius.
If you work as a team for a number of days at a time, and you do certain things on certain people's pages, and you take time to engage with what everyone else is doing, then in fact it brings benefit for the whole group. That's a really interesting high level thing that she's doing, and I've been participating in that for a little while. And I can tell you, hand on heart, that has made a new business of mine. It's on the verge of going viral, and it's because of Lindsay and her system. And that's a
Oh, that's
and it's always the same. The ethos is always the same. It's joining together, supporting one another. Not one person ever saying, "But what's in it for me?" Ever.
yeah.
The minute you ask that question, don't bother networking. Don't bother. Don't
Well, I
bother.
was going to say that, I feel, in fact, actually, just to really prove our point here, Lee Taylor's just come in and she says, "Hey, folks," and we're doing a great job. Hey, Lee. And Samantha has pointed out the whole gang's here. And that, I think, in
Oh,
itself
gang.
is 100%. It's sadly, can I even mention it? I don't know whether I can, but the book fest didn't happen.
Fine.
It was gutting, and
Fine.
we will do it. We will have to do it, and we'll have to get it up and running. But we all set out to do something good and with a common purpose and without the hidden agenda. And, a few months on, we're still all here, supporting each other. And it's not networking to me. I don't think networking is about finding people to buy your stuff. It's about making friends and having a wider social circle. And I have a lovely cocktail. I've lost concentration. Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
And that is a cocktail. That.
Honestly, he's gotten so good. It's worrying. It even sounds pretty. Listen to that sound.
Once a creative, always a creative.
Oh, I don't know. He's anything but. He's a civil servant. He's so normal. He had to have me as a wife. So Donna is saying, so Donna Strachan, we've actually got on coming on next week, and it's all going to be about working with the third sector. And Donna's actually asking whether you could ever consider working with kids and the art club kids in Woodburn. And we've made these connections before as well, because Mary's made a connection there, and again with the networking. But yeah, she's got kids who want to publish books, which I think you both are part of and do a fabulous job of. So yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant example of that networking and being a part of things and making those connections. Yeah. And making them in a really real way. So Donna's saying they put out a book every year. So the art club kids are from the Bill Russell Youth Project, Wood Trust. I've got it all wrong. It's lots of letters. Bill Russell Woodburn Youth Project. And they run a youth club, and they run art club, which my sister works for, and she hires lots of different artists to do different pieces, but she also has been getting them to put out books. So yes, you should definitely be in contact with her. She's a great person to network with that way. So I should go back to my questions, because we've gotten totally distracted, and I notice we're pretty much at time. This is always the way, isn't it? It was always going to happen with us. What else do I have? So you were saying about the trade fairs and things like that. What do you think is going to be the new way of doing those things? Do you think we're still going to be doing them, or do you think they're going to change in the future and we should be trying to adapt our networking?
No, I think genuinely, I think the way ahead for sure is that the trade fairs, until they can't do their thing. So until they can't actually just hold their live events, what they're doing is they're putting everything online, because let's face it, the buyers are still there. They still need their shops stocked. They just have to look for new things. Now, if you haven't, the really big thing is that if anybody's watching and they haven't considered business to business selling, because there's such low margins, I understand what you're saying, but what I would say is definitely consider it, because one business client for me is worth 100 retail clients. And even though
there's so much more work in those retail sales too.
There's a lot of work, unless you can establish a recurrent source of income by offering maybe some kind of membership of a club, or even getting together as a collective. I have heard very recently through my industry that there's a lot of strength in numbers, and some people are trying to get retail sales, which are repetitive, loyal retail customers who come back again and again, but they won't come back just for your product, but they might come back for maybe 5 other business partners, and then you catch them the next 6 months. So actually there's strength in numbers. So I would start doing your analysis. How much is your retail income worth in relation to the activity, the creative activity you've got to put into it, compared to your business to business client?
Yep, that's really interesting actually, because it's something that I've thought of quite heavily, because we are currently in the process of doing a big marketplace, and an online marketplace, and it's where it's multi-vendor. And the whole idea of that is that we can all bring our customers there, and they will continue to hop around and work as a collective. And Made in Midlothian's always been about being a collective. So I will be hitting you up too, because it's perfect for the Wee Book Company. We'd love to have you on there. Stories needs representation. We've got Sam doing her amazing Upside Down. Pardon me, too many cocktails.
Oh, it's just like being a Wetherspoon.
There's only one answer.
It's just, it's just like being a Wetherspoon.
We're going to have a big party at some point soon. It's got to happen.
Who's going to go and get the pork scratchings, Vinny?
I know. Sam can tell us. We're almost there. They've got most of the gang. Sam can tell us off. Sam, we haven't been told off for anything yet. Come on.
I love being told off by Sam. I love it. I miss that so much.
Remember the days?
When we all misbehaved, and Sam used to knock on the table and say, girls, pay attention. Oh, I miss it.
When we go back, we'll have to get her a gavel.
I love that. Sam and her specs.
I'm suddenly noticing I'm meant to keep these to, I believe 20 minutes was my aim, but that was never going to happen. And then I said half an hour, and we're already at 32 minutes.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Next
week's going to be even more mayhem. Next week's my sister.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's brilliant.
That'll be fantastic. or terrible. Will be one or the other. We might not finish a single sentence between us.
Be brilliant. We'll be tuning in for that.
So, any other top tips for success?
Yes, I need to say this out loud. I do. Okay. So if we are talking to creative people, I have to say this completely from the heart. You have to sort your brain out. You have to make sure that your right brain and your left brain are working in total harmony to get through this COVID-19 thing. If they're not, you ain't going to get through. And what that means is you have to create like a crazy person, better than the rest of the market. You have to be as creative as humanly possible and push it as wild and free as you can. But you must also use your left brain to market yourself with a system. You must analyze your business, where your profit is, where your target market is, how you access that target market, how you price in line with everybody else who's out there. Those are different brain functions. Now, you and I both know that.
Like the algorithms.
I know people who are wildly creative and multi-talented, but who cannot keep their books, who cannot keep their lives in order, who cannot, they find it very difficult to ground themselves enough to get their marketing strategy working. And that's a really hard life, because they're actually creative geniuses. Now, creative geniuses, unless you've got piles of money and someone else to do all that stuff for you, you're going to be a creative genius, and you're going to have a fairly difficult life, because all that creativity is going to go to waste. So somehow you have
to. Going to say when you first started, it's like, can I outsource the other half? Like,
and you can, if you can afford it, outsource it. But most of us can't afford it. And so you have to look at where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. Brush up on your weaknesses. Keep yourself on track, and you're fine. And honestly, that's the biggest thing, because my heart breaks. My heart actually does break when I see creative geniuses who are frustrated because their creativity is not given a forum. And that is a heartbreaking way to live. And I hate seeing that in people.
It is, and it's one of Made in Midlothian's biggest goals, and actually the whole reason that stories sort of came to exist, and part of it was seeing people trying to launch their books at craft fairs that weren't busy and things like that. And I thought, you should have somewhere to do that. There should be a place. And they really didn't seem like there was. And it's part of the whole thing. But of course, now we're online, and it is the World Wide Web, and we're competing with the world. And so I think that's part of like the networking and the marketing is very much one of the things you have is your location. And it has never been as important as it is now that you connect with that. Because otherwise, you're any old stranger, a million miles away.
Yeah.
So Rachel Archibald is saying there's a BA Creative Enterprise at Fife College in partnership with the QMU. That's very interesting, actually, and would be great to hear a little bit more about, Rachel. If you want to drop us a message about that, that would be great. So maybe we can show people a little bit about what you're doing. So we should stop waffling. It's 36 minutes. I've got a timer. It's awful. I can see it.
This is good. Your left brain is working. Your left brain is on it.
Oh, I know. If only I could do all the things for Made in Midlothian and apply them to my own business, I'd be sorted.
I know. You can't do everything, and you can't, you've got children and a life and a family, and, you juggle. You juggle brilliantly. Well done, you.
Well, I think you touched on a lot of really good things there about networking and being genuine and actually having something that you believe in and that you want to see created, and not for your own profit margins, but something that you actually want to see. And it makes such a difference. So yes, Mary's reminded me, I do have it there. If people want to see more of you, where can they see it? What's your next thing? Plug yourself, Susan, plug yourself.
Ooh, I can't. I've got what can I say? We're still at the Wee Book Company. So it's www.theweebookcompany.com, and the Book Whisperers, www.thebookwhisperers.com. Find us all on Facebook on Monday night. Tomorrow night. Me and the Book Whisperers are going live, and this is a really big time as well. Lee has just finished the most incredible 6-week creative challenge. Stupendous, all about, straight to camera and that beautiful storytelling. And now the international best-selling author, Mary Turner Thompson.
I've heard something about that.
Yeah. She is doing a 6, this is her one. Now, you don't often actually get this opportunity very seriously. She's doing the 6-week course on life writing. Now, considering that Mary is one of the top life writers in the country, and she's giving out a 6-week course on life writing for free, starting tomorrow night. That's fairly remarkable. And again,
it's amazing.
All over, that is out of just a generosity of spirit with no agenda. And I think that's a good thing to come out of COVID-19, and that is a remarkable thing.
And if you're a writer, those connections you're going to make by participating in these things are gold dust.
It's gold dust.
You cannot put money on that.
It's gold dust, and really, she's between us, we kind of cover the aspects of performance of memoir and life writing and creativity and then the insider knowledge of publishing. So that's not easy to come by. So that's starting.
And you're all brilliantly entertaining too.
We are
to watch.
brilliantly entertaining. We laugh like
so funny.
We make virtually no sense. We turn around and we find that Lee has gone off, she's gone off screen for 5 seconds, and we didn't notice.
Oh, it's brilliant. We've got to get more stories onto Made in Midlothian, so we'll get back on that.
Yeah.
But what you've been doing with the Book Whispers is brilliant, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
get involved with that, people. If you are in any way looking to write, absolutely gold dust. I desperately want to. I even wrote a little something and sent it to Mary, and I never ended up doing my editing on it because I'm terrible like that.
You're not
One
terrible.
day,
No, you're not terrible at
4
anything.
kids and 2 businesses.
No, you're not terrible at anything. You know what you're achieving is fantastic, and you know what you're doing is you're a very good example of networking from the heart. You know, it's
Yeah.
all about sharing and supporting one another. And so well done, you. More power to you.
Well, I've met some wonderful people, yourself included. It's been a great journey. All right, we should go. We're being bad and waffling on. I'll see you in the chat in a minute. I'll sign off. Right. Thank you, Susan.
Bye.
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 So that was Susan Cohen, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, we have Donna Strachan, who has possibly, said she's done. Oh, thanks, Mary. She says, well done, Renee. So yeah, Donna Strachan is my sister. And we're both going to be on live next week. We've traveled the world together and we've never been on Facebook together, so we'll see what happens. We're going to be covering working for the third sector as an artist, which I think is going to be so important in this coming time, because the third sector is likely to be heavily funded. They're in the best place they can to move business forward. The government no longer has that frontline infrastructure. And so working in the third sector as an artist is going to be massively important to get through the recession, I think. So we'll talk to her about that and see what she has to say. And if you liked seeing this, it's all done for free, but we do have a fundraiser. If you can even chuck a couple of quid to that, it makes such a difference, just the amount of people. It's those algorithms that we're fighting constantly. And actually, it's about lots of different people contributing, and then the fundraiser kicks off. So that would be fantastic. If you can't, please donate. If you can't donate, please don't feel pressured to like, share, and comment on our stuff. It means so much, and it helps us know what's working and what's helpful for you, because at the end of the day, we're here to help artists. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're watching on catch up, please still comment and I'll still see them. Triona says 4 kids, 2 businesses. That's impressive. Yeah, it's a lot. But I just keep doing it and don't think about it, and it'll be fine, right? All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to stop waffling on. It was lovely to see you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.